Hello and welcome to Newsbeat. This is a live broadcast from our studios at Northridge in Accra. My name is Kenneth Jesse. Here are stories making headlines today. Regional Emergency Response Team investigating the rabies outbreak in the Ashanti region finds source of the recent outbreak and sets in motion measures to curb the spread as 7 additional people have been infected. Now, the Ghana Health Service gives update on the country's COVID-19 status. We will bring you live inputs from the press conference. And later in business, Chamber of Petroleum Consumers COPEC kicks against the Energy Minister's insistence on keeping boss margin as part of the petroleum price buildup. And later on the international front, Brussels Airlines has cancelled all flights to Liberia over a malfunctioning navigation system at the main airport in Liberia's capital, Monrovia. Details plus sports and entertainment are coming up shortly. Stay with us. Welcome to the program. The number of infections in the latest rabies outbreak in the Ashanti region has reached 12. The Risk Communications Officer of the Veterinary Service Directorate, Dr. Benjamin Kisi-Sasu, earlier indicated an emergency response team had begun investigations to find the source of the spread in order to determine the next line of action. Now, he joins me again for an update on the latest cases. Thank you very much for joining me, Dr. Sasu. Right, I understand he's not on the line at the moment, but we are trying to get him on the line to give us an update on how far the number has reached. We understand that the cases are so far at 12 in the Ashanti region. Has it spread to other parts of the country? We'll find out from Dr. Sasu when we get through to him on the telephone lines. Still on health, Director General of WHO, Tedros Ghebreyesus, at a press conference on Wednesday, 14th September 2022, noted that the world has never been in a better position to end the COVID-19 pandemic. Although the fight isn't over, he emphasized the end is in sight.
The number of weekly reported deaths from COVID-19 was the lowest since March 2020. We have never been in a better position to end the pandemic. We're not there yet, but the end is in sight. A marathon runner does not stop when the finish line comes into view. She runs harder with all the energy she has left. So must we. We can see the finish line. We are in a winning position, but now is the worst time to stop running. Now is the time to run harder and make sure we cross the line and reap the rewards of all our hard work. If we don't take this opportunity now, we run the risk of more variants, more deaths, more disruption, and more uncertainty. So let's seize this opportunity. Meanwhile, the downward trend in the global monkeypox outbreak is continuing. But as with COVID-19, this is not the time to relax or let down our guard. This is the time for all affected countries and communities to keep doing what's working.
So that is the Director General of WHO, Tedros Ghebreyesus saying that COVID-19 is soon coming to an end. We'll come to Ghana and speak with a health expert to see the situation of COVID in Ghana. But in the meantime, data from the Ghana Statistical Service has revealed that inflation shot up to 33.9% in August 2022, the highest in 21 years. Let's take a look at the trend from January to August and some items affected by the rate of increase. Right, so we start from February, where the inflation stood at 15.7%. It jumped by 4% to 19.4% in March, and then increased further to 23.6% in April. Now, in May, it jumped by 4% to 27.6%. In June, it jumped by more than 2% to 29.8%. In July, it jumped again by more than 2% to 31.7%. And in August, it is standing at 33.9%, 0.1% short of 34%. Right, so these are the items driving inflation in the country. We have bread, which shot up by 64.8%, and then herrings, which is smoked, went up by 56.2%. Now, payment for rents went up by 55%. Cooked rice went up by 29.7%. Fish went up by 41.6%. Bars and trotro fares also went up by 43.7%. So all these drivers of inflation for August went up by more than 40%. Right, let's now get on to Zoom and speak to Paul Frimpong. He's an economist. Paul, good to have you on the show this afternoon. Now, 33.9% inflation rate. It looks like there's no slowing down, is there? Right, I understand we do not have Paul Frimpong on the line at the moment to speak to us on the current spiraling inflation in the country. Now, one statistic from that inflation also indicates that the Eastern region recorded the highest inflation rate in the country. I understand Paul is back on the line. Paul, can you hear me now? Good afternoon. Welcome to Newsbeat.
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Right, inflation is now standing at 33.9%. It looks like it's not slowing down anytime soon, is it?
Definitely not. I believe we are experiencing quite a turmoil, if you can put it that way. And of course, this inflation is just a reflection of what we've been experiencing in so many aspects of the Ghanaian economy. And so when you are consistently seeing increase in the cost of business and the cost of doing business, the cost of production, you definitely expect that the price of goods and services will go up. And typically what we are experiencing in Ghana in terms of our inflation is what we call the cost push inflation. Of course, the other side what we call the demand pull inflation, but this one is cost push inflation because we're dealing with a situation where we look at the items, the line items, as put at the Ghana Statistical Services in respect of the August report. Obviously, you can know that the cost of production has actually led to what we are experiencing now, and so we are not going to be okay in the short term unless we see some new measures to address the situation.
Right. Now, Paul, fuel has gone down on the global market, but it was one of the major drivers of inflation in August here in Ghana. Why is that the case?
Well, typically, I think we are quick, as we've seen, mostly when the prices of such commodity, which is fuel, which actually drives almost everything that we produce in the country, we tend to be quick in terms of the increase. It is there and then that you see various unions and associations, all of that coming up with a new rates according to, the service that they are providing. But then, of course, we are very slow in the same approach to reduce the cost of the final goods and services that we sell to the public. And so, for me, I'm not surprised that we've not really seen the sort of reduction in the cost of goods and services as we should have because of the reduction in the fuel prices in the global market. It usually takes time for some of these things to be effective. And when you're running a developing economy like Ghana, we so many aspects of our economic development cannot, sort of support the sort of fall that we expect to see when the price of commodity like the fuel price comes down. And so we tend to be very slow, as I said earlier, in the response to actually having a reduction in the price of goods, even though we are seeing a fall in the price of fuel in the global market.
Looking at the current trend, are we likely to hit 40% by the end of the year?
I should think so. I think we are going to reach a peak, of course, within the last quarter. I'm anticipating that. And of course, we need to look at how the scenarios also play out in all other aspects of the economy. For example, our current negotiation with the IMF, seeking our bailout, the kind of technical assistance, the kind of confidence you're going to have, especially the one that can target the city, because as we can see, in the basket of inflation that we experienced, we're talking about the imported food basket, which is very high. And of course, we can see that has the currency in play here. So hopefully, when we get our way through with the negotiation with the IMF and get some of this support coming in, we can be able to have a headway in terms of trying to tame the inflation that we experience.
Right. Paul Frimpong, thank you very much for speaking to me this afternoon. Now, news just coming in indicates that another person has been killed in Wa by unknown assailants. Let's go to the Upper West region and speak to our resident correspondent, Adams Musa, who is standing by with details. Adams, thank you very much for joining me this afternoon. We understand that this is the 10th person that is being killed by unknown assailants. Confirm that to us.
Well, the number as we speak is not up to 10. The records we have in the region, because 3 persons were killed and their bodies were found. Part of their body as well were missing, and 3 also have been missing. But droplets of blood around those areas suggest that they have also been killed. The recent one is just where I'm still around the scene, which happened. We just realized it some moments ago. He is also a security man at a shop closer to Wat Technical Institute, a technical school within the Wat Township, where he goes for night duty. And we understand that he was picked from his security point and moved behind where he's giving security work behind it, and suggests that he has been killed there, and you could see blood around the area, but the body cannot be traced. Currently, we are still at the scene. You can recall that on Monday, we reported that a private school security has also been kidnapped and killed by these unknown assailants. This week alone, we are recording 2 incidents in Wat Town, making the number 6, what we have recorded so far in the region from our records that we have. The situation is quite worrying in the municipality, and it has gotten to a point that they don't know who to blame, and they are calling for security intelligence to come to the region, particularly the municipality, and help identify these murderers who are within the municipality and are targeting security men. That is actually what is happening in the municipality.
Right, that is a developing story. We'll definitely be following through to get to the bottom of it. Thank you very much, Adams Musa, for bringing us that update. Let's take you back to our earlier story where the number of infections in the latest rabies outbreak in the Ashanti region has reached 12. Now, the Risk Communications Officer of the Veterinary Services Directorate, Dr. Benjamin Kisi-Sasu, earlier indicated an emergency response team had begun investigations to find the source of the spread in order to determine the next line of action. Now, he's joined me via Zoom for the latest update. Thank you very much for joining me, Dr. Sasu, for Newsbeat. What is the outcome of the investigations conducted by the Regional Emergency Response Team?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to your viewers. So yesterday I had to make a call to find out what's happening in the Ashanti region. And as part of the investigation, samples of dogs that were involved with these 3 months were also sent to KCCR, the lab, for confirmation. We found out that yes, these dogs were rabid. So it means that this one is from a dog-mediated situation. So what we could tell right now is, yes, dogs have had a play in it. That is why quickly the regional medical director, as of yesterday, made it known that there's a need for veterinary service to get to the area, which is being done. And so as of this morning, I was trying to get to the regional veterinary officer who is on the ground with staff managing the situation. So where it is coming to, a lot of sensitization will go on in those districts and outside and also nationwide. But those districts may go through mass rabies vaccination. That's by the guideline, and which preparation are also being made to do so. So I hope in the assembly and the regional community councils, they help to release funds, right, so that as part of measures, all pets in those areas would be vaccinated against rabies.
Right. So
make sure that the situation come under control.
So in the interim, what measures are being deployed to curb the spread?
Yes. So once it has come that dogs play a part, the vet officers, as I said, that you are on the visiting the areas, to look at those places that the dogs are, that got this rabies are coming from, and look at close by. And first of all, those people who start with them, making them their quarantine, asking, telling the areas that are very close, the locality, especially the street and the various locality, to now watch out for these signs and always report to veterinary office. So right, they'll step up, you need to provide the contact. Those dogs that may be in a neighborhood will also go through some quick vaccination as we are with the mass vaccination in those districts. So at schools too, children are going to be educated, so they become careful in dealing with animals in the area. You know, some children, as part of playing, maybe throwing stones and all those things. All this education will be going on. And in addition to that, meetings going on to get all these stakeholders so that education directories play their part in those areas. The health people also play their part, other places their part.
Right. Dr. Sasu, give us a bit of education on how rabies spread and how dangerous is it?
Okay. So for rabies, there are 4 major things that everyone wants to note. When we say rabies is 100% fatal, it means that when a person gets bitten or gets to show signs, and when the person gets to show signs and symptoms, that is all. There's no treatment. The person would lose his or her life. That's about rabies. But when you get bitten, and immediately you will get the nearest water, you get in the water and watch the signs for about 15 minutes at go, or try to sing A, B, C, D to Z. Then you get to the nearest health center and report, and let them also link up veterinary. You would have situation under control.
Right.
And another thing is 100% vaccine preventable. That's the good news, which means once we vaccinate our pets against rabies, and right, their coverage will be okay. So we are still telling people not to eat animals. We need to be responsible owners of them. Make sure their health is in good hands so we can have a good situation. Once we are doing the best for them, there'll be bad consequences.
Right, Dr. Sasu,
But
thank you.
we want to expect that people should not be so alarmed. They should not fear. I think because are coming in asking us that my dog will beat and all those things. Even this, this afternoon, a lot of calls were coming in. But not saying that if you have your dog and the dog is just sick, it's raped. No, get a veterinary officer to come ascertain the situation. Even if your dog died in the course of this week, just like that, even showing the signs, we need to pick samples or laboratory confirmation before we can say yes, your dog is raped.
Right.
So people should not get alarmed. Let's put the protocol. Don't hit your animal, get your them vaccinated. When bitten or with a scratch, watch the site.
Right.
Report to the nearest health center and get it 9-4. Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Sasu, thank you very much for the education. We'll still stay in health and go to the Ghana Health Service, who are currently addressing the press on the Marburg virus. Let's cross over.
Be sure that we don't miss anything. So the Western region is where the first case actually working there as a farmer, and that's where he fell ill. So that became a very crucial point for us as part of our response, because we suspect that that's where the virus must have been coming from. But when we visited, we also realized that we also had all the ingredients of the virus. We have the bats that were there were old caves, and some mining activities going place. So that meant that it was a very fertile ground for such things to take place. And there were other migrants who had come in there, working there. So these were all areas that created a challenge. So what response measures did we take place? As soon as we found out that we had that challenge, we issued alerts to all our health facilities, including teaching hospital, that we have identified such a case, just to create the awareness and people to be on alert to look out for them. We also had to activate the national, regional, and district public health emergency structures. This is not limited to only the place. This is a nationwide response, so we just alerted all of them. We also we had a deployment of national, regional, and district public health emergency response teams. These are teams that are already there, but we only have to deploy them when there are cases there. We also initiate our risk communication and community engagement about Marburg virus across the country, not just in the district. And we also initiated a nationwide sensitization of all clinicians, that is doctors, health workers who are seeing cases. We also have specific interventions for the affected regions and districts, and these included activation of the regional public health emergency management committees for Ashanti, Savannah, and Western, more of an enhanced activation. Activation of the district public health emergency management committee in the affected districts, that is Adansi North, Bekwai Municipality, Sola Tuna Kaba, and Pristia Huni Valley. For these districts, we also had further to do contact identification. We were tracing and following up contacts. In all, we had about 198 contacts, 50 in Ashanti, 84 in Western, 64 in Western, and out of that we had about 28 were health workers. And the most important information here is that when you have such cases, those who are at higher risk are the health workers, the first responders who are likely to come in. Fortunately, nobody developed the disease, and even though we followed them all for 42 days, despite the fact that the official recommendation is 21 working days to make assurance double sure, we followed all our contacts for twice the incubation period, which is 42 days.
Right, so Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boadjeh is the Director General of the Ghana Health Service. Here's what to expect after the break.
50 pesos na yesu 50 pesos wa do yibutum na yeyi once dey but me go buy na no e bono mo basu bono bi then 50 pesos dey dey akoma san won hwe no we bibi na 50 pesos yintum na yen 50 pesos.
You're welcome back. The Ghana Water Company Limited has warned that it could shut down operations in areas affected by Galamsey if cost of treating the polluted water becomes economically unsustainable. According to him, the company currently uses 10 times the chemicals needed for refining water before distributing due to the impact of illegal mining. There's more in the following report.
The Ghana Water Company Limited for years now has been complaining about the adverse effects of illegal mining, popularly referred to as Galamsey, on the treatment and supply of water in Galamsey-prone communities. In an interview cited by Metro News, the communications director of the Ghana Water Company Limited, Stanley Mate, said if nothing is done to curb the menace, the company will revise its operational procedure. According to him, the situation is gradually becoming intolerable as the cost of treating polluted river bodies keeps rising. Although government has intensified measures to end illegal mining, the communications director believes government will have to do more to ensure the situation does not get out of hand. He said Ghana will soon have to import water if nothing drastic is done. He added the Ghana Water Company Limited will shut down its machines as the cost of materials needed to treat the water bodies with high turbidity levels has become very expensive. Meanwhile, government has reiterated its commitment to win the fight against illegal mining.
So I've been joined on the telephone line by the communications director of the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Mining, Abdul Razak Al-Hassan, for more on this. Abdul, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Now, what do you make of these arrests when it comes to the fight against illegal mining in the country?
Thank you for having me, and good afternoon for your viewers and listeners. The arrest is in the right direction. We all pray that it will continue, but we need to also identify or to analyze the type of people we are arresting. Which group of people have they arrested? Are they because we have different types of illegal miners in the country. That is why always we small-scale miners are always saying that, look, we have more into this than the way people see it. Because the group that they've arrested at Tertue Forest, what are their crimes? What were they doing? We need to understand all this and know the type of illegal miners they've arrested. So as for arresting them, it's in the right direction, but where we want to be sure that the law takes its own course, fair enough. If you arrest them and later on release them without any merit, then what is the use of arresting?
Right. Tell us how difficult it is to treat water contaminated by Galamsey activities.
Thank you very much. It's very difficult because the turbidity that the water commission, whatever they're using to purify this water, it comes as a cost. And when these Galamseyers are on these river bodies, destroying or polluting these water bodies with sometimes I don't believe, because I learned some are using chemicals like pre and the rest, but I've not seen them. But in reality, normally what they use on the river bodies is to make sure that they come out with this ore, and by so doing, they will always pollute these water bodies, and it creates a whole lot of problem for us. So water at this level is one of the serious issues that we need to look at. Yesterday, for instance, some of us were at Amadan, which is at Mampodia, and you could see how these water bodies turn into. We don't know whether it was milk or it was mud. But we went there to examine what our task force has been there doing to make sure that they will take all this Chamfan people out of the water. Right. And we really fought this serious fight. And dealing with these people, unless it should be a holistic approach, because when we went down there, there were some issues that some of us sometimes we will raise and people don't want to understand, because there's nobody who will be on the water body without the knowledge of community leaders, because some of them were confessing that some of the assembly members, unit committee members, chiefs, caretakers will not are part of this process. So it's a holistic approach.
Right. We pray that this doesn't happen, but assuming it happens, that the Ghana Water Company Limited is to shut its operations due to illegal mining, which communities are likely to be affected?
The communities, there are so many communities, because those around the Ofin, the bank of Ofin, the River Pra, almost the whole country will suffer. It's not only Accra people or anywhere, almost everybody in this country, because we have the major rivers. So as at now, I think places that we can have some hope a bit is the White Volta and maybe the Black Volta. The Black Volta, there's one or two on it, but I think they are climbing them down. So the main rivers for now, which has not been touched, they are the Black Volta and the White Volta. So the rest of Fame, Pra, and the rest, all of them have been touched, and it's a very serious issue.
Abdul Razak Al Hassan, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Two other stories. Barring any unforeseen circumstances, the sachet water price and other packaged water products are to be increased next week by producers. The decision to increase the price follows review of the pricing formula by the National Association of Sachet Water Producers to meet cost of production and consumer satisfaction. But fishmongers in New Takoradi in the Sekondi Takoradi metropolitan area have rejected the new pricing formula, claiming that it will overburden them.
Construction work, you need a lot of water to do it. So imagine that we are doing the work, our pay is very low. At the same time, you have to spend more money on the water. Because 50%, when I'm doing the work, I can drink more than 10. So imagine that maybe I'm going to do a work, they're going to pay me maybe 40 cedis. Another day, now I'm going to spend more than 5 cedis for the water. And my colleagues, it's too much. Even though the system is very hard, we should consider some certain things to lower down the pure water for us.
I think it's very bad and very appalling. The government must try to do something about it. In fact, this community that we are living in, it is not everybody who can get money to buy 50 pesos per sachet water. I think it's very bad. The government must try to do something about it.
This will greatly affect us because I will not get 50 pesos to purchase one sachet water. I would rather purchase a bucket of pipe-borne water for my family to consume. How can we survive if water is going to be sold at 50 pesos? Then what is the reason we voted? At the moment, we are unable to take care of our children. This will be very burdensome. The government needs to intervene. We have heard about it in the news that a sachet of water is to be sold at 50 pesos. We work at the seashore. Even with the 30 pesos, it's difficult to buy. Unfortunately, we do not make any catch when we go fishing. They need to exercise some patience with the new prices.
Now, in other stories, the family of 5-year-old Kelvin Akufu Bekwin Asare is appealing for support for their grandson to undergo a whole-in-heart surgery at the National Cardiothoracic Center at a total cost of $9,000 US.
Kelvin Akufu Bekwin Asare is a 5-year-old boy with a hole-in-heart medical condition. This makes him weak and so cannot be active in school like his fellow colleagues. Kelvin's health condition is affecting his education. I noticed this when I visited him in school and I found him sleeping during lessons. His teachers are unhappy for the boy whose future hangs in the balance. Kelvin's teacher, Pearl Clotte, tells me about his performance in school.
Academically, he's good, but he doesn't associate himself with some of his friends. He isolates himself and all that.
His family will have to cut out $9,000 to save his life, but raising the amount is a Herculean task. Meet the grandparents of Kelvin, who have been taking care of him since birth. Let's first listen to Festus Odami Asari, his grandfather.
We observed his strange behavior, but didn't know exactly what was wrong with him. When we took him to the hospital, it was revealed that he has the hole in heart condition.
Further narrates how the family was able to complete the first hole in heart surgery for Kelvin.
We were informed there are 2 holes in his heart. They performed surgery for one. It was during a medical review they told us time is up for the second surgery.
Here's Kelvin after his first successful heart surgery at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Grace Ako Asari is his grandmother.
First, my man, but I said, so bizarre, said, over to the crack at and said, Bibi, and then I was in me, Kuma. Was it not in his bonnie?
He was in good health after the first surgery, but now he has been complaining of chest pains. He's so dear to me, especially with a sense of humor. I know this boy will be a good person when he grows old. If you are able to help him undergo this surgery, I will thank God and always be grateful to you.
The family is appealing for support to undergo a second hole-in-heart surgery with a total cost of $9,000 at the National Cardiothoracic Center. Persons who would want to contribute towards Kelvin's surgery can send their donations to the mobile money number 055-8584-561 or Societe General Bank account number 060-0021-456878. Festus Odami Asari at the Osu branch.
Right, and we appeal to benevolent individuals and groups to come to the aid of little Kelvin. We'll be back after this break.
Good afternoon, welcome back to Newsbeat Live on Metro TV. My name is Winston Taki, and now to a false business story. The Chamber of Petroleum Consumers has kicked against the Energy Minister's insistence on keeping the bust margin as part of the petroleum price build-up. The minister at the annual general meeting of BOST in Wednesday indicated that there are no plans of taking off the 9 pesos bust margin on petroleum products due to the effective utilization of the process by the company.
I would like to commend management for the prudence which resulted in these massive reductions in the cost of operations. The company is spending less whilst achieving more. I can promise that the bust margin is not being taken off the petroleum products anytime soon. We will use the bust margin efficiently and effectively to protect the citizenry of this country against the vagaries of private sector interests, which is always profit, profit, profit against the ordinary citizen of this country.
We'll try to reach Cooper to get their reaction to this particular development. Now, away from that, most cocoa farmers are gradually losing their businesses to the activities of Galamsey operations, which has a tendency to affect the nation's general output in the medium term. According to the public relations officer of Cocoa Board, Fifi Boafo, most of the chiefs force these farmers to give out their farmlands for Galamsey activities.
Are not in any way prepared or willing to give out their cocoa farms to these people offering them, except that there are some chiefs, unfortunately, who compel them to give out their land because the chiefs say that, well, we are the owners of the land and we determine the use of the land, even though they've given it to these farmers, usually migrant farmers who have their cocoa farms on the land. we are engaging sex chiefs for them to appreciate the fact that, yes, you're giving out the land to the person, and the person has some use for the land, and indeed productive trees are on the land. So you can't just voluntarily and unilaterally just offer to take away such lands from them. So we are engaging such chiefs. In some instances, some of them also use different means trying to compel them to give out or coerce them into agreeing to that. Some of the farmers are willing to take them up in court, except that the farmers lack the exposure, the wherewithal in procuring the services of lawyers to represent them. Cocoa Board at this point is offering such farmers legal representation, and what we have offered does not entirely solve the problem, but to a very large extent, it is helping to at least serve as a check. And then also to remind people that offering a cocoa land that gives income for a number of years certainly cannot be substituted with just some amount of money for you to spend in a matter of a year so that you lose your land. That's not the way to go.
That's all for business here on Newsbeat. My name is Winston Taki. Phil John Court is standing by with sports. Phil?
Well, thank you very much, Winston. Up next, the latest in sports. My name is Phil John Quarty. Let's start the midday sports with the Ghana Premier League Match Day 2 will start today and on Monday on the various centers. They on your screen, Speedy. So there you have it. Bechem United game against Kotoko has been postponed due to the Reds African campaign. Then Entravenso will take on Bibiani Gold Stars. That will be today. Then tomorrow, Dreams FC will be in Koforidua. They will be at, I think they will play against Kotoku Royals, the new entrance to the Ghana Premier League. Accra Lions will be at Accra Sports Stadium. They will welcome Karela United. Then on Sunday, in the Northern Regional Capital, Tamale Cities will play against Legon Cities. Mediama will be at Takwa against RTU, that is RTU, with Real Tamale United. Accra Good Olympics and Hasselhoff will battle in the Manchester Derby on Sunday. Then on Monday, Samatex will see whether they can beat Brecum Chelsea, while King Faisal will be at the Babaya Sports Stadium to take on the Adriana Stars. Remember that they beat Hasselhoff first day of the new season. Well, let's focus on the Manchester Derby between Hasselhoff and Accra Great Olympics. And their coaches are quite confident they'll win the match.
Every game as it comes, you know, it doesn't matter whether it's Hasselhoff, it's Vancoba, or Jontes, or whoever. It's for us, it's all about getting the maximum points. So we'll give them, we'll prepare and go to the field. And then whatever that I have for the boys, we'll put it on across and see how they can execute it. It's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. I'm taking it game after game. So Hasselhoff will be another hurdle. So we'll make sure we jump it, and then we see how it goes. It's a local derby. Accra Hasselhoff, Accra Great Olympics. Before our time, they've played it and they know how it is. The Jama from both sides, you know. I remember my time when I was playing for Hasselhoff, we played against Accra. It's a game that they took it more seriously than playing Kotoko. So it's a game that, you know, both clubs want to win. So the supporters should come in their numbers and give us the maximum backing.
We are going to approach this game with the high pressing. We don't allow the opponent to possess. We also have to get a ball from them and possess, and we make sure that we find any possible means to score a goal. Hasselhoff is good, is a better side. So though they have won their first game, but we are preparing to meet them, and we are playing home, and I believe that at the end of the day there will be a lot of changes. I think we take a day to break a record. We take a day to make a record. So we believe, Hasselhoff, we believe that though we have lost to them for 2 consecutive times, but this time around it won't happen. Individual players, Ajambadu is a good player, as we all know. He can be a threat. can be a threat. So I respect all of them, but we are going to play our game plan so that at the end of the day we get our maximum point.
Samuel Buedu and Yapreko are confident ahead of Sunday's Manchester Derby, week 2 of the Ghana Premier League. Let's go to the United Kingdom and focus on the EPL. Matchday 7 is starting tomorrow. Fixtures on your screens now at Villa Park. It will be Aston Villa taking on Southampton. Those are the chaps from St Mary's. Nottingham Forest will welcome Fulham from London. Wolves will play against Manchester City, who are cruising. The match involving Brighton and Crystal Palace at the Emirates Stadium has been postponed due to several reasons. Then at the St James Park, Newcastle will play Bournemouth. In London, Tottenham will welcome Leicester City, who are struggling. They are bottom of the league. Brentford will pick on Arsenal. Meanwhile, the tough game for the week involving Chelsea and Liverpool has been postponed. The same reason has to do with burial of the Queen. Policing will be in and out, so the match has been called up. So is the Manchester United and the Leeds game, the Shanahan Derby, quite interesting. Then in the city of Liverpool, that's the blue side, Everton will take on West Ham. Quite interesting. So it will be Frank Lampard taking on David Moyes in that tie in the city of Liverpool at Goodison Park. So Midday Sports, my name is Phil John Quarty. Yaya is standing by for the latest in showbiz.
Thank you, Johnny. Entertainment news is next. My name is Nanaya Tanobwache. Now, All African Music Awards Afrima, in conjunction with the African Union Commission, AUC, has released the official list of nominees for the 2022 edition. Ghanaian artists Black Sherif, Jackie, Amare, Kidi, Dinah Hamilton, Neptunes, and Camido all were nominated in different categories.
With a total of 9,067 entries submitted, the highest number ever recorded by the awards since its inception, the Afrima jury selected a total of 362 nominations across 39 categories to represent at the regions in Africa as well as in the diaspora. Ghana secured 9 nominations across the 39 categories. In Ghana, Black Sherif leads with 4 nominations: Song of the Year, Best Male Artist in West Africa, and Best Artist. Duo or Group in African Hip Hop twice are the categories he has been nominated in. Meanwhile, Kidi is in the Best Artist, a Duo or Group in African Reggae, Raga, Dancehall category. Amare is in the Best Soundtrack Movie, Series and Documentary. Camido in Breakout Artist of the Year. Dinah Hamilton in Best Female Artist in Africa Inspirational Music. Jackie nominated for the Best Female Artist in West Africa Award. Neptunes and Goya Ameno, known for the hit single Ameno Amapiano, are in the run for the African Fans Favorite Award. The 2022 All Africa Music Awards will be held from the 8th to the 11th of December 2022.
Now, away from that, U.S. rapper Cardi B appeared in New York court Thursday, September 15, 2022, and pleaded guilty to misdemeanor charges from a 2018 bottle throwing incident at a Queens strip club, resulting in a sentence of 15 days community service.
The Grammy-winning rapper, born Belcalis Almanza, pleaded guilty to third-degree assault and second-degree reckless endangerment and was sentenced to 15 days community service. On August 29, 2018, Cardi B was in Angel's Strip Club in Queens when her group reportedly lobbed bottles, chairs, and a hookah pipe, which police said bruised a female employee's leg. Cardi B allegedly ordered an attack on 2 sisters working at the club because one of them slept with her husband, the rapper Offset. Her admission of guilt to assault and reckless endangerment allows the mother of 2 to avoid a trial and potential jail time. 10 other charges she faced was dismissed. I've made bad decisions in the past that I am not afraid to face and own up to, she said in a statement.
That's all on entertainment news. Ken, over to you.
Thank you very much, Nanaya. International news is next.
A military mobilization is underway in Eritrea, in which reservists up to the age of 55 have been recalled to replenish the army. On Thursday, many in the capital, Asmara, were given notices and taken within hours to front lines among the country's shared border with Ethiopia's Tigray regions. King Charles is making his first visit to Wales today as monarch. Although he has visited many times as Prince of Wales, the king has vividly recalled feeling embarrassed in 1958 as he sat with friends in school while they watched his mother make the announcement that he was to become Prince of Wales. His formal investiture was in 1969 at Carnarvon Castle, attended by 4,000 guests. Brussels Airline has cancelled all flights to Liberia over a malfunctioning navigation system in the main airport in Liberia's capital, Monrovia. It said all passengers affected by the cancellation will be contacted. The airline urged the management of Monrovia Roberts International Airport to comply with safety regulations as soon as possible.
My name is Kenneth Jesse. I'll be back at 1:30 with Metro Reports. Until then, bye for now.